Hello student, good afternoon. Today I will teach you host susceptibility, parasite and host, that is the host susceptibility. Host susceptibility. Parasitologists have long recognized Parasitologists have long recognized different types of host with respect to their susceptibility to various parasites. Susceptibility to various parasites. Thus, in a host is easily parasitized by certain species, it is said to be tolerant, whereas if it is difficult to parasitize, it is classed as refractory. A host that is frequently found parasitized by a certain species in nature is known as natural host, whereas one that does not become so parasitized may be considered a foreign host. If a species of parasite that habitually lives in or on certain host species is found in or on host that is very seldom infected, that host is spoken of as an accidental or casual host. A host may become infected but throw off the infection after a short time, in which case it is known as a provisional or transitory host, or it may serve as a host for a short stage in the life cycle of a parasite, thus becoming a temporary host. Frequently, it is possible to infect species of the host in the laboratory that do not become infected as a rule in nature, either because their habits are such that they do not come into proper relations with the parasites, or because they are refractory except when large numbers of parasites are present, or when these are administered to them in certain definite ways, not usually possible in nature. Whether or not a susceptible species of animals become infected with a particular species of parasite in nature depends primarily on three factors. Animals and parasites must live in the same geographical regions. The habits of the animal must be such as to bring it into proper relations with the infective stage of the parasite, and the life cycle of the parasite must be such that its infective stage is reached when and where the host is available to be parasitized. The first factor mentioned is so obvious that little discussion is necessary. The absence of certain disease from certain regions is frequently due not to be absence of susceptible host but to the absence of the parasites. This, for example, may account for the absence of malaria from countries where susceptible human host and the proper species of Anopheles mosquitoes exist, but where the malarial parasites has never been introduced. On the other hand, may cases might to be cited of diseases that have appeared in various regions previously free from them because of the introduction of the causative parasite. The other two factors are really the same considered from the two standpoints of host and parasites respectively. If the life cycle of parasite and the activities of its natural host are studied side by side, it will appear as through both host and parasite were actually trying to bring about a situation favorable for infection. For example, the gametocytes of the malarial organisms live in the peripheral blood, where they cannot fail to reach the stomach of the mosquito that sucks up the blood. The infective sporozoites congregates in the salivary glands of the mosquito, where they seem to lie in wait to be inoculated into a new host. The mosquito feeds on the blood of man and thus enable the parasites to enter the blood streams, whereas it might feed on fruit juices as it is able to do in the laboratory. The infective mosquito bites usually at night when the host is asleep and is thus able to inoculate the sporozoites successfully during an uninterrupted meal. A change in any of these conditions might easily bring about the annihilation of the race of parasites. For example, if the gametocytes were localized in the internal organs of man, or if the sporozoid did not reach the salivary glands of the mosquito, there would be no spread of malaria and the disease would soon die out. An infection that involves injury to the host may be acute, malignant, fulminating, chronic, or benign, but the evidence does not indicate that the susceptibility of the host to an infection has any bearing on the character of the infection. Induced infection induced, that is to say, a host may be more susceptible to infection and probably usually is by species of parasite that never calls forth symptoms than by pathogenic or lethal species. Okay, thank you.